Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a video doing a new kind of BYOP. I have done one of these before. This is my picking out singles for blank season. I did one for spring and now I'm going to do one for summer. This is going to be very much the same as last time. I'm just going to open up my palettes and just go through my different single eyeshadows and pick out the shadows that I want to reach for this season. So this is basically just to help me with my no pan left behind kind of project, or you know, my goal of reaching for every single eyeshadow in my collection. I feel like creating these kind of palettes for the season or for like the time we're in the year just helps me out way more than just opening up the palettes, because I have so many palettes that it's kind of overwhelming sometimes. So having one palette specifically means that I can focus on reaching for those, and then when I complete the palette I can create a new one. And that is what it's time for today. So I'm going to jump into choosing some new eyeshadows, but before I do so, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So we're going to start with my Cleon eyeshadow palettes, and the first one here is my original Cleon palette, the one with my own original eyeshadows. So let's go ahead and pick a couple eyeshadows. I didn't pick any of these for spring, but I do think I want to pick out a handful of my jewel multichromes, specifically maybe one of these red ones. I have these two right here and they're quite similar. This one is slightly lighter, this one is slightly more vibrant and slightly more pink tone. I would say like fuchsia. This one is Semblance, this one is Kiln. I'm going to put in Kiln. I feel like that one is a bit more bright, so it's more summery than this one. I might pull this one in for autumn. Another one that I'm looking at that I'm going to try to get out, it's so hard to do this without stabbing the eyeshadows, but this one right here is another one that I'm looking at as a potential, because it's like a beautiful kind of emerald sea green. Not an emerald, like it's a sea kind of turquoise green, but I really think that one is beautiful, and it's the shade Castle. I want to reach for that one too. Lastly, I do want to reach for one of these blues, because I feel like blue is the kind of color for summer. I love wearing a blue in summer, and this one right here is the one that I'm thinking of. This is the Shadow Spire. It's like quite a deep blue, but I just feel like that one is quite beautiful. So I think those are the three jewel multichromes I'm gonna pull in. So moving on to like the rest of the shadows here, I'm just going to keep pulling in things that kind of I feel inspired by at the moment. And from this row here, I don't think there's anything really I want to pull in. What about here? Again, maybe another blue. I want to pull in this one here, which is Ciel, I think. Ciel? Ciel. I don't know how to pronounce that, but you can see it right there. It's another one that I want to pull in. That is that one there. I also haven't swatched anything yet. Maybe I should give these a few swatches just so you can see what they look like. I don't know if you can put up the shifts at all. I'm gonna try to use my light as a source, and I think you can see the shift a bit there, but those are the four initial eyeshadows that I'm rolling in. Another eyeshadow I want to pull in is this one right here, this one, which I think is in Boss. Yes, it is. I think this one is a beautiful one. It's a pink one, but it has a green shift to it, and I think that's a quite a summer shade, so I want to roll that one in. From this row here, I don't think there's anything really I want to pull in, but there is a couple down here. The first one is Foiling, which is this eyeshadow at the bottom here in the corner. It's a beautiful eyeshadow again. I haven't reached for it enough, so I want to pull that one in. I was also thinking about some of these. I love these deep iridescent, especially for summer. Which one do I want to pull in? One of my absolute favorites is Vermilion. I have reached for this one quite a bit, so maybe, I don't know if I want to pull that one in. Maybe I should put in this one instead, because I haven't reached for it as much. This one is the shade Burnt Sienna, also one of the deep iridescents. I'm going to pull that one in, I think, and let's swatch these three. And you can see them there. Again, hopefully you can see a little bit of the shifts, especially if I bring out my light again. I do love Vermilion, but I think I might pull that in my BYOB project instead, because I want to reach for it more than, like, you know, once or twice in this project, so I think I'm gonna leave that. But I think I do want to bring in this one too though, which is the shade Ochre. I just want to play around with it a bit more and use that one, and let me swatch that too. And hopefully you can see there, I think you can already see the shift. It goes from like a gold to like a green and a teal. So with that, I think I'm gonna stop with this palette and move on to the next. So there's quite a few like summer shades in this palette. Honestly, there's like a lot that I feel like I want to reach for. first thing that's standing out to me is this shadow here, which is the shade Diadem. It's a beautiful eyeshadow, so I think I'm going to pull this one in because it's like a beautiful summery blue. Next up, I do want to pull in one of these top shadows right here, and the one that I think I'm going to pull in is this one. Oh, I just stabbed it a little bit. I don't want to risk it. I'm being very clumsy and I've stabbed it a little bit, so I don't want to stab it anymore. But this one right here, I think this one is beautiful. It is the shade Coronation. Very fitting actually, because we had the Royal Coronation here in the UK yesterday as of filming this. I'm filming this a bit early. But here we have that blue, by the way, and that is the pink. And hopefully again you can see a little bit of the shifts there. I also do feel like I want to roll in one of these two. This is Rain and this is Monarch. I think Monarch is the one I'm going to go with, which is a little bit more kind of orangey toned, and then Rain can go back in. And I think that's it for the top row. And both the ones that I rolled in are both the Vibrant Motochromes. I think this is the Glitter Vibrant. Yes, it is. So those are those eyeshadows. What else do I want to pull in from this palette? I feel like maybe this shadow here is a bit more summery as well. This one is Motif. Yeah, let's pull that one in. It's much more teal. Anything else? I think the last thing that I'm looking at to maybe pull in is this shadow here, which I don't want to stab again. But I think this one should be Royal Peach, if I remember correctly. Yes, it is. I think I'm going to roll in that one too, and I think with that I am done with this palette. And for reference, there are those two swatches as well. So we have one last Clone eyeshadow palette, which are these right here. And there's definitely some that I want to pull in from here that I think will be fitting for the season. Mainly the Vibrant Multichrome. The first one that I just feel like is the most summery shade ever. So I think my camera cut out, but what I was saying was the one that I think is the most summery shade ever is this one right here, which is the shade Crown Jewel from Cleona. It's a beautiful bright blue, and I feel like this is just the most summery kind of shadow ever. I just love it. Hopefully you can see the shift a bit better than I are, but it's a beautiful eyeshadow, and I really do want to pull this one into this palette. Out of the remaining shadows that I took out, the only one that I want to include as well is this one here, which is Heirloom. It's another beautiful, bright, vibrant shadow. Yeah, I think this one is perfect as well. Then the last shadow, I think... Do I want to pull that one in? I was going to pull in this eyeshadow here, but I think I'm going to pull in some iridescent instead, because I already reached for this one quite a lot. I love that eyeshadow and I know it quite well, so I don't think I'm going to pull into this palette. But I am going to pull in some iridescent. First of all, I want to put in some more of these kind of yellow toned iridescents. This one here is really sparkling, like just standing out to me, and that's the shade Gilding. It's a very, very vibrant, very flaky kind of, I mean, not vibrant, what am I saying? I was going to say a textured kind of iridescent. You can see it right there. It goes into like a greenish blue shift, and I think that one is going to be a good one. I believe the one above it is Luxe, and I don't want to pull this one in because it's very similar, and I do want to pull this one into my BYOB kind of Armageddon project pan at some other point, but not today. The other one that I do want to pull in though is the eyeshadow above here, which is Halo, which is like an orangey kind of iridescent. This one here, again, is Halo. This one is another one that I want to pull in, which looks like this. Do I want to pull in the one next to it too, which is Ray? I think maybe I should. Or do I want to pull in a different one? No, let's pull in this one. Again, this is Ray, another one. I think both these are series 2. And this one shifts to like from a red to like a gold. And with that, we have filled up all my Cleona spots, so let's move on to the next kind of categories. Next up we have this palette right here, which are kind of my newest eyeshadows. I'm slowly working my way through this one while I'm using them, but these are the ones that I haven't really played around with yet, that much at least. The first one I do want to pull out and play around with is this one right here, which is the shade Musefi, I think. Sorry if you can hear that, it's my dog drinking some water in the background, but this is Musefi from Terra Moon, so I do want to put that one in. Let's also pull in this one next to it, which is from the Pastel Roses, I believe. This is the shade Citrus, which is just a straight up yellow shimmer. I want to pull this one into. I don't think it has a shift, really, does it? No, it's more like a I guess it does have like a little bit of green to it, but it's not very visible. So that's the next one. And let's swatch the Terminus Shadow 2 while I'm at it. That's a very beautiful eyeshadow, and that one has a lot of shifts to it. I don't know how well you can put them up on camera, but there they are. Is there anything else from this palette that I want to pull in? I feel like I want to pull in one of these two. This one here I believe is from the Pastel Roses. No, this is not. Actually, both of these. Are these both from Terra Moons? Yes, they are. This, because I couldn't see the shift properly. But this is the shade Coalescence, I think. And then this is Ganymede. I do want to pull one of these two in to play with. I think, since I have already worn this one before, I'm going to pull in Ganymede. Because I do, yeah, I have played around with it. But yeah, I'm just going to put it in so I can reach for it one more time, and then I can leave this one in for something else further on. I do already have a lot of blue in this palette, but I do also want to pull in this one here, which is another beautiful blue. This is the shade Skyfall from the Pastel Roses. Let me swatch both of those two, so you can see what they look like. That's Ganymede, and that is Skyfall. Beautiful eyeshadows. Hopefully you can see a little bit of the shift at least. I think lastly I want to pull in one of these two here. We have the shade Aurum Regalia, which I just dropped. And then we have this shade here, which I think is, yeah, Galactic Blossom. These two are somewhat similar. Let me see which one I want to pull in out of these two. I mean, Galactic Blossom is way more kind of intense, so I do feel like that's also very much, like, they're very different in the shift. I don't know if you can pick that up a little bit. This one goes into like a greeny blue, and this one goes into like a pink coral kind of shade, and then that purple. I do want to pull in the bottom one, I think, which is Aurum Regalia, and this one I will save for a different occasion. And I think with that palette I am done. Well, actually, one last thing, I might want to pull in Dreamscape as well from the Pastel Roses. So that is kind of blue shadow that has like a really nice green shift. I think that one is a stunning shade, so I will put that one into as the last one. Next up we have this palette here, which is a beautiful kind of green, blue, yellow kind of color story, and I think there's quite a few here that would work for summer. First off, I want to pull in the shade... Did I pull this one in last time? I can't remember. Let me check, and if I did, I won't pull it again. But this is the shade Barbados. Let me just double check in my spreadsheet. Yeah, I have used that one, so I believe I had that one in previously, so let me not put that one in. Is there anything else? Maybe I should put in some matte blues to go with all of these other ones. I had Oasis in my BYOP in spring, so let's pull in one of these deeper ones. This is the shade Nightfall. Let's pull that one in. Maybe I should also pull in this one here. It's a bit deep, but I think it will go with all the other blues, and I can build looks around it. And this is the shade It's a Boy. Okay, maybe I should pull in a light blue too. Have I reached for this one before? I think not. This is Cali from the Sydney Grace. So that is this one. I'm not going to swatch out the mattes because they kind of look what they do like in the pan. So yeah, I think that is it for blues. At least for the matte blues. Is there anything else I want to pull in from this palette from the blue section? I don't think so. I do, however, want to pull in maybe this shade here, which is a bit more kind of greenish leaning, but I think it's another one that I can build looks around. This is the shade Poolside, very fitting for summer, so let's pull that one in. Then for the rest of the palette, is there anything that is kind of screaming to me summer? Maybe this one here. It's like a green shade. It's also Sydney Grace, I believe. This is the shade Celebrate. Yeah, I think this one is a nice one. It's a very kind of warm tone green that I think looks very summery and like grassy, and yeah, I like that one. Maybe also the shade next to it, which is the shade Shallows. And I just checked my spreadsheet for this one because I forgot if I have reached for this one yet, but I haven't. So let's pull this one in too. Again, a very bright kind of summer shade. So that's the next one. I don't want to fill this palette up completely, so I don't know how much else I should pull in from this palette. I already have a yellow shimmer, so maybe I won't put anything from this. Maybe this one though, which is like more of a light kind of almost whitey kind of shade. It would be nice as an corner highlights, so let's pull that one. But I think with that I'm gonna stop. The next palette we have is this one right here, which honestly not sure if I'm gonna pull anything really for summery kind of looks. No, this is not really screaming summer to me, so I'm going to skip this palette. And we're going to move it straight into this next one, which is my neutrals palette. Okay, so I'm sure there's some here that I can pull in. Especially kind of more, I guess, this kind of warmer shades. This one here is not really, like, it's a dip powder shadow. Maybe I should pull this one in to see if I want to keep it. It looks a bit off because I swatched over like it's on stain edge. But this one is a dip powder shadow from Tom Ford. It's from one of the quads that I had ages ago, and it's like a kind of copper shade. Maybe I should pull that one in just to play around and see how I like it now. Maybe I should pull in this red as well. This is from Juvia's Place. It's the shade Ada. I know this one definitely swatches lighter, or it goes on lighter than it looks in the pan, but I think that one can be fun to play around with. I also want to pull in this shade right here, which is one of the kind of really reflective liquid metal almost shadows from Thermo. This is shade Casium, I think. Casium? I wouldn't say Casium. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly though, but this is the shade. And just look at that from that one swatch. It's so metallic, so sparkly, and it's absolutely stunning. I love these eyeshadows. Anything else that I want to pull in from here? I'm looking at like these neutral shadows, but I can reach for them anyway. I want this to be more kind of fun and colorful and make me reach for shadows that I might not reach for otherwise. So you know what, I might stop here with this one too. For my last large palette, we have this one right here, which is again another one, and I think in here we have a few more kind of shadows that I can reach for, which are these kind of more warm tones. I think I can definitely pull in a couple of these. The first one that I'm definitely going to pull in is this fun orange right here. This is from Terramoons, and it's the shade Savage, but that is a really fun shadow to pull in, so that's the next one. Another one that I'm going to pull in, which I think looks really fun, is this one here, which is the shade Cosmic Noon. It's on Terramoons. Yeah, these doesn't swatch the best, especially now because my hands been swatched before, but that's the shadow there. It's one of the Neon's eyeshadows, so I want to pull that one in too. I never reach for my glitters anymore, so I do want to pull this one in and see how I like it. I feel like now when I have so many sparkly eyeshadows, glitters on my eyes aren't my go-to anymore, so I want to pull this one in to see how I like it and see if I want to keep all my glitters like as eyeshadows, or if I want to do them like as nail polishes or whatever I want to do. So that is another one. Anything else? I'm looking at this here, which is the shade Water Sukrova, I think, from Glam Shop. Yeah, Turbo Water Sukrova. I think this one is another one that I'm going to want to pull in. It's a fun kind of bright shade. It's a very pinky shade, but it does have a little bit of an orange base, and it doesn't go into like a bit of an orange shift too. And that one's a fun one to reach for summer. So I'm not going to fill up more than this row here, so I only have a couple more shadows to go. And I do have my smaller palettes too, but let me see what's here that I want to pull in. Maybe this pink actually is quite fun. This is the shade Terraverse. I'm not going to swatch it, although I've been swatching some mattes. And I think maybe there I will stop. I'm keep going. I have so many shadows that I want to pull in. This one here is the shadow Love Letter. Oh, I love this one, but I have reached for this one before, so maybe I shouldn't pull that one in this year. I mean, already. I mean, I can reach for something more than once, but this is mainly used to reach for things that I haven't reached for already. Used to have a, you know, a place that I can reach for them organically instead of having to go and search for them. No, I think I'm gonna stop there and move on to the smaller palettes. Let's finish up with the circle eyeshadows. The first one is this one here, which is an iridescent palette, all my iridescent shadows. So right now, let's just swatch the iridescent that I have already so that I don't pick anything similar. Let's just put them up here so you can see what they look like. But yeah, these three here are the ones that I have pulled in already. That was a terrible place to swatch, but you get the idea. So what can I want to pull in? I don't want to pull in this one because I know that's similar to Red Giant, or, well, Red Giant too, but also Ray. Maybe I do want to pull in another kind of goldy one, although I need it to be different. Like maybe this one actually. This one, which one was it? I think this one here. I'm sure I've reached for this one already, Snow Globe. Yeah, I've reached for this one quite a bit already. It was in my Armageddon Project pan, so maybe not this one. What about this here? That's quite a fun one. It's like a green to purple iridescent. I think that's from the Pastel Roses. Yeah, it's the shade Bombshell. I want to pull that one in. I like that one a lot. Maybe I will pull in this one. This is the shade Time Shift, which is from Terra Moons. Yeah, oh, that's very metallic. It is quite similar to, was it Gilding? Yeah, Gilding, I think. But it does have more of a blue shift, and it's also smooth. So I'm going to pull this one in from Terra Moons. So I have room for one more if I want. But I'm going to move on to the next palette, which we'll see if I want anything from there. So this one here came from my newest orders again, but I have reached for all of these eyeshadows. The bottom ones are the potted shades. Maybe I want to pull in one of those, because I have reached for all of these shimmers before this year, apart from this one. But I do think I want to pull in this orange here, because it's the most kind of summery one that I can see out of these. So I'm going to pull this one in, if I can fit it, and I can. And I think there we have my palette. Actually, last I just remembered I have my Colourpop singles, which I haven't even talked about yet. Maybe I do want to pull in one or two of these. I guess this yellow might be nice. Can I fit them here? That would be nice. No, I can't. I guess I could pull in like one or two, but it will kind of also mess up my structure in here. You know what, I'm not going to put in any Colourpop mattes this time, or Colourpop from this palette, because I'm also going to do a video. I think that video has already gone up before this one, but I'm going to do a video where I'm going to declutter these shadows. So maybe I should just keep them all in one place for this month, and then take it from there. Maybe I'll reach for them before doing that video, just to get some use out of them. But for now, I think I'm going to keep all of them in that palette as a whole, especially since I have already kind of made this palette, and I'm really quite happy with it, how it looks. Again, it's a bit disjointed. I'm not going to reorganize. I kind of feel like it's very inspiring to me to have the palette like this, where it's kind of like all over the place. Let me zoom in a bit. Yeah, where it's kind of all over the place. Yeah, I like it. And then what I do, like normally when I do, if I reach for an eyeshadow, just so I can keep track of it, is let's say if I reach for this one here, I move that to the bottom, and then I just keep like shuffling up as I go, like that. And then, yeah, you know, same with this one. If I reach for this one, I'll put that down here, and I keep shuffling up like that. And that's kind of how I keep track of what I've used in the palette and what I haven't. Again, obviously, it's not like I need to reach everything only once, but since I'm trying to cover every eyeshadow in my collection this year, I do just kind of want to keep track of what I've used, so I can prioritize the things that I haven't used yet. So that is the palette. I think this is pretty summery. Obviously there are some deeper tones up here, but I do really want to start reaching for my jewel multichrons a bit more, so that's why I included 3 of them. But yeah, let me know what you think of this palette. Let me know if you feel like it's very summery or not. And that is basically it for this video. So I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will just catch you in my next one. Bye guys.